Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
my, I'm good. My camera is good. Okay, it's good. Okay, so how are you?
I'm super good. We were just discussing like how happy we are feeling.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm feeling
So,
so, it's like a contented feeling. It's like a fulfilling thing happening, it's like a downward hill daring to end the target we
yes,
started. Yes,
yes. And consistently. That's the,
yes.
that's happiness, like consistently we had done it. Okay, so yes. So can you quickly tell everyone that why we had started these series and then we'll hop onto the words that we wanted to discuss.
Yeah. So basically, we started with this thing in mind that people should understand these words that we use in common languages, which have very deep meaning in psychology. It is not a regular day-to-day word. So me and Priyansi were thinking, okay, how people should know. Let us do something that can make people understand these words. They have deeper meaning that what we use in regular life. So just to be how mindful you can be when you use these words. Our intention is just to make you aware of certain words that we should be very careful while using them in day-to-day life.
Yes. So basically using these words mindfully. And for our viewers to know, we are using these words from the American Psychological Association, APA, and also the Oxford Dictionary of Psychology by Andrew Coleman. Okay. So yes, let's start with the first word.
Yeah. So first word is postpartum blues, also called as baby blues. I'll read the dictionary from the dictionary first and then we'll discuss. Okay. So, postpartum blues is a common emotional reaction of mothers to childbirth, characterized by transient depression lasting up to 72 hours, called as postnatal blues. So, these are like symptoms when the mother, gives birth to the baby, and at that time, there are certain changes in the body, in the situation, in the in the acceptance, in the whatever goes through, it is like a big change for the person. So there is a dip in understanding. It is like a depression at that moment of time, right? So this is called postpartum blues, and they have certain, it triggers because of jumbled emotions. That time the mother faces. Even the father has the same thing. Even the father can have postpartum blues. So these are like fear of joy, anxiety, or that might result into like it can have a fatal reaction to depression. Like if it is normal anxiety, it is okay. It can go. But if it is not treated, it is not taken care of, it can lead to depression. So there are, what we have understood is there are similar, like two causes. One can be emotional and one can be physical change in the body. Because of the pregnancy, there are certain changes in the body, hormonal changes and uh, different metabolic changes and many changes in the body after the delivery. So they can be a big reason for these depression, postpartum blues, or they are emotional changes like you want to accept this newborn. Now your routine, your body, it changes a lot, now you have someone else to take care apart from your body also. So all these emotional trauma that this female goes through can lead to postpartum depression if it is untreated. It can lead to psychopathology also if untreated for longer time. But I think most of it is like 75% of female, they go through this kind of postnatal depression, not depression, but anxiety. But they even don't know if they go through or not. Because when they are surrounded with the family and taken care of, this goes. But if they don't come out of it, not taken care of it, then they go into depression. And which can be not good for the family relationship, which might affect the child mother relationship in future also. You want to say something, Priyansi?
Yeah, so like basically, like you had correctly explained about the physical changes in the mother, the emotional changes, because there is now a new member, like husband, wife, and there is a new member. There's a change in your routine, when you will sleep, when you will wake up, when you will eat your food. So the child becomes your priority, and the parents take a back seat. So adhering to that routine, that okay, how are we going to manage it, and plus the overwhelming situation that you had given birth to a newborn, a new child. So that can become overwhelming for the mother and also the father, so, and that can lead postpartum blues for the mother, right? And this can, like you already said, that it's about the family that you're surrounded with. If a proper support is given, if the mother has proper support, then it becomes easier to sail through the situation. So yes, very, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so we have the second word for today, which is post-traumatic growth. So the dictionary says improvement in psychological functioning following a traumatic experience. It is a term from positive psychology, which was developed by Calhoun and Richard. So they said that whenever a person goes through a traumatic experience, now after that traumatic experience, if that person is having growth, if the person is showing some improvement in the situation, then that is called as post-traumatic growth. So we can talk about here self-acceptance, that you accept yourself more. Okay, your interpersonal and intrapersonal relationships become better. When we talk about interpersonal relationships, relationship with your partner, with your family, with your children, with your friends, with your colleagues, to start becoming better. You start moving from extrinsic motivation to intrinsic motivation, where you give more importance to happiness, contentment, compassion, and materialistic things take a backseat. So whenever you see all of these things in you after a trauma has happened to us, or you're taking therapy or sessions, so this is called as post-traumatic growth, where you see certain kind of improvement in yourself. Hence, post-traumatic growth. You want to say something?
Yeah. So we know about post-traumatic stress. So it is like a,
Yeah.
as the name suggests, it is post-trauma and then a stress. Yeah. But that time, if a person can come out of that trauma and grow, that is post-traumatic growth.
Traumatic growth.
And these
Yeah.
person who go through such trauma, and when they grow, they are more stronger, more compassionate, and it is like bouncing back and
You become
showing
resilient.
growth. Yeah, and it is a, you know people in pandemic also, those who have gone through this kind of infection or near death experience, they have come out wiser. Now they are more compassionate towards others, because now it is like a near death experience that they have seen. So this is a very good growth. And if people bounce back and they have better life now, and then they can be more compassionate. They can think about not self, but they can be more about others also.
Right.
So it's a
Right.
very
So
good
basically,
sign.
yes. So you start loving yourself more. There are you give yourself time more. Self care takes comes into the picture. So you are growing as an individual. So that we will call it as post traumatic growth. Right.
Yes.
So on that note, what is our third word?
So third word is very interesting word, and it is called priming. I would request all my viewers who are watching to watch this movie called Focus. I watched this thing in the movie. It is by Mills Boone, Will Smith and Margaret Robbie. Will Smith and Margaret Robbie. Focus. Movie is Focus. Please watch this movie. You will understand priming so much. We are all primed. First, I'll read from here and then we'll switch to our discussion. So, it is prompt that provides information about either the identity or the times of appearance of a target stimulus, and that may facilitate a response or inhibit a response. This means that priming is like an effect. If you don't know you are exposed to something, but you are not knowing about it. So I'll give an example, right? From this example, you will understand that if I'm showing you bread, butter, and milk, and then I give you a fill in the blank, S, O, and dash and P, what comes to your mind?
So,
So I'm saying bread, juice, milk, and then it is S, O, and dash P. So you have a word in your mind that is connected to all these three. If I
yeah,
show you towel, shower, shampoo, and then I write the same spelling to you, S, O, and dash P.
yeah.
So
So
you
the
know
first
what it is.
situation, yeah. So in the first
So,
situation, it's soup, and in the second one, it's soap.
yeah. So how did you know this is soap and this is soup? This is this is what it is called priming. How do you get this word? This is a very interesting, and you are primed every day. If you have this example of advertisement, advertisements prime you like anything. When you see something herbal and everywhere it is written herbal, you'll think, oh, it is from the plant product, so it is good. They just write word herbal. This is priming. You want to
Right.
add example on this?
Yeah. So I had this example where, like, suppose let's talk about smoking or cigarettes. Okay. So, like, there is an advertisement which shows that people are partying, people are drinking, people are smoking and having fun, and then a picture of cigarette is shown. So you get a picture that, okay, like, you feel that I also want to try smoking. Okay, because you feel that you will have fun because of smoking. Okay, advertisement one. If advertisement two is shown in you, in which it is shown that how you are affected after smoking, like, you are shown pictures of operation theater, lungs, and blood, and then you are shown a picture of cigarette, you'll be like, no, I shouldn't be smoking. So this is what advertisements do to us. They show advertisement one where everybody's having fun, smoking, chilling out, friends, everyone are chilling out, so you want to smoke, right? So that is also an example of priming, where
Yeah.
you are being influenced by other stimulus, where you are having fun.
Yes.
So this is also priming.
Yeah. So it is like facilitative priming, where you facilitate buying behavior, or inhibiting priming. It is like stopping that behavior. So
Right.
very well explained with the two example of cigarette only, where you party with the cigarette or you show those cancer signs that cigarette causes cancer, and then it is an inhibition priming.
So, like, it is shown in the movie theaters, no, that for tobacco it is shown, Mukesh, I suppose.
Yes,
In
yes,
theaters it is
yes.
shown, right? And you feel like, okay,
Yes.
I can't see this.
Yes, yes. So it is the same way. In schools also, I think everywhere, even the children are taught with priming. You know, these these things they automatically get into their long-term memory. Like if you say bread, automatically next word will come to you as butter. These are
Butter.
associated words. And we are taught like when we were in school or small, we were taught this way only. So associative priming is done every time and we have it in us. So
Yes.
these are
So,
cues. These are cues that these are given to you. Now, whenever you want to attach something, like everything is given, like you are given bread, butter, now you know what you need in this. So there's a whole set of things. You want to say something?
yeah, so I was saying that it can happen. People can do priming with you deliberately also, and subconsciously as well. They don't know that actually they're doing priming, and priming is actually happening. So it can happen
And
deliberately also and unknowing.
this this movie is about gambling. And through gambling, how priming is done to gamble even. So please watch this movie. I would, I'm really, I really would like this movie about priming, how they have shown.
So all those who are viewing the session, if you somebody has watched the movie, then please let us know in the comments. And on that note, let's take the last word for today, which is most loosely used. That is psychiatrist and psychologist. So people use these words so loosely, they'll say whatever they want to say and they'll put out any definition they want to. Okay. So I'll first read out from the dictionary and then we'll discuss. So the dictionary says psychology is an individual who is professionally trained in one or more branches of subfields of psychology. Okay. And a psychiatrist is a physician who specializes in diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and study of mental, behavioral, and personality disorders. So when we talk about the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, the very first thing we should know is a psychiatrist holds a medical degree, okay, whereas a psychologist does not hold a medical degree. A psychiatrist is like any other doctor. Like we have cardiologists for heart patients, right? Then we have oncologists, right? In the same way, we have psychiatrists who study who study mental disorders and provide medicines for the same. Who will prescribe you medicines for the same? On the other hand, a psychologist does not prescribe medicines because he or she does not have a medical degree and is not trained in prescribing medicines. So all those who feel that psychologists give you medicines, no, they don't. Psychiatrists give you medicines. Who is a doctor? Okay. Yes, then talking about further in psychologists. So when we talk about psychologists, we have different kinds of psychologists. So we'll talk about two, counseling psychologists and clinical psychologists. When I talk about clinical psychologist is a person who has an RCI license, okay? Whereas a counseling psychologist, like I am a counseling psychologist, Shaludi is a counseling psychologist, we do not have an RCI license, okay? So we are counseling psychologists. Now, what do? We deal with people who are not doing well in their personal life, in their professional life, or maybe in their relationships, having concentration issues, anxiety issues, or are not able to deal with, the normal life that they are going to. So this is basically how do you balance your emotions. We believe in empowerment. So we empower people by certain interventions and by talking. So this is what is a psychologist do. Okay. So I hope to everyone it is clear that what is the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist. You want to say something?
Yes, very well said. I'll just add one more point in psychiatrist that they can even give you those electric current therapies and all. Those are like heavier things that normally cannot be treated. Those patients who cannot be treated with talk, or they are like, you know, the patient of those caliber that nobody can address them. Psychiatrists and mental hospitals, they take care of those people. But the people who can be treated with through talk therapy, or they can be, given how to deal with the
Interventions.
situation. We just empower them. Rightly said. We just empower them how to deal with the situation, and we make them understand that there are other ways to think. Maybe the perception is not right. So we let them perceive in other ways so that they can see the situation in others' angle. So maybe they're hitting the wrong door. Maybe you hit the door in this way, so you get through. So that is what a counseling psychologist do. And they are also involved in, the psychologists are also involved in certain therapy, especially with children, like play
Hmm.
therapy. Because if the children is there, you don't know what situation the children is going through. So play therapy helps the children. They cannot go directly to the psychiatrist. We have to first see if the psychologist can take care of the child. If it's not possible, only then a psychiatrist is referred.
Yes, yes, rightly said, Dee. So please, let's cut this notion. It's a myth that psychologists gives medicines and electric shocks. No, we don't. We just believe in talking and empowering. That is the main agenda of counseling psychologists. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I hope all those who are viewing, you did receive a notion that who is a psychiatrist and who is a psychologist. So on that note, let's wrap up for today. The four words that we had discussed are priming, postpartum blues, post-traumatic growth, and difference between psychologist and a psychiatrist. Tomorrow we'll be back with letter Q. And thank you to all the viewers. I hope this is helping. And yes, of course, Shaludi for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priyansi, and thank you all for your appreciating and viewing. And if you have any question, please let us know. And if you have any other option or let us understand some things that we don't understand or not able to express properly, your views are most welcome. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
we are open for feedbacks. We are open for comments. If you feel that you want us to talk on some other topics, we'll be happy to do that. And please give us feedbacks. We love them.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. It
much. Yeah.
motivates us.
Stay
Yes,
best.
thank
Good
you.
night. Bye. Ciao.